Welcome to Buckets Live, coming to you from the Tommy John Home Studios. My name's Matt Moore. I'm the senior NBA writer for the Action Network. I sound like one of those '60s radio hosts when I do that. Welcome to Buckets Live.
I thought about like the GTA radio hosts.
I'm the Wolfman. Joined by Brian Fonseca, Brian Fonseca NY on Twitter, at Brian Fonseca on YouTube. I'm joined by Kyle Murray from Roto Grinders at KMurDFS, who's late because he was stuck behind a train that then followed him home. It's a ghost train. So he's haunted by a train tonight. We're coming to you during the late stages of the fourth quarter between the Golden State Warriors and the Minnesota Timberwolves. Wolves up 17. I'm hoping for the Warriors to make a late comeback and sneak under this. But I also need them to go under 95.5. So I need the Wolves to never score again is basically what I need. Also sweating Naz Reid over 12.5 points. Need 2 more from him.
Same.
And Pod over 12.5 points. I need 2 more from him to get home on those, which should be fine. Points are aplenty in this series. The concern, Brian, was going to be like, okay, how are the Warriors going to score? And they had like 5 points at the 5-minute mark of this first quarter. I mean, it was. They are shooting 45% from the field for the game and 29.6% from 3. They are 12 of 19 from the free throw line. They can't even hit the free ones. I have a prop thing for Kyle in a second, but I still feel like when the series gets back to Golden State, and even this game is actually a little bit reaffirming, like I think they can extend the series. And if they can extend it, I think Steph comes back in game 6. So I think the Warriors are still like, I am absolutely not in I am only looking for Warriors series prices. That is all I will look for. I'll like update my projections after this game, but getting 1 of 2, I looked this up. It's something like in 15 out of 23 series where the home team comes back after dropping the first one after the first round, it goes to a 6th or 7th game. Like it's just, if the home team is going to win, they don't reverse sweep. They don't win it in 5. It's almost always 6 or 7, which makes sense. Like they're going to get another one. Does this game move you in any way other than we should probably be hitting Warriors team total unders pretty religiously here?
I mean, on my end, real quick, I have Minnesota first half 6.5 because I'm always scared of the full game, as we've seen in the playoffs. Like I've been on teams bouncing back in the first half to just let go because they might let go of the rope, and it's already happened a few times.
Right.
I'm also sweating out Naz Reid to get the 12.5, and also sweating out Golden State to stay under 95.5 team total points. To answer your question, yeah, I'm mostly interested in Warrior stuff also because I'm always like not sure. I find myself being unsure about how reliable Minnesota is going to ultimately be. I love what I've seen in this game, just in general, from Jaden McDaniels and Julius Randle in particular. Those are the 2 guys that I have the most questions about as it relates to their consistency. And Jaden McDaniels has had a really successful playoff tenure, and Julius Randle is playing the best basketball he's played since being traded to Minnesota. He's on a good stretch. He's playing productive basketball. The numbers aren't as gaudy, but I do worry about, and this is what I was worried about with Golden State. I don't take anything away from this just because I felt like this is how the game would go for the most part. And it's just moving forward. All right, at home, you have to have your role players shoot better. That's a big part of it. Jimmy Butler got only 11 field goal attempts. I would normally say that that's something that can't happen. However, it does tend to happen sometimes. He's 35 years old, and playoff Jimmy isn't every night. You would say, Matt, as we were talking about, you would say it's once a week. I would say I think it could be a little more often than that, but I don't even know if it's an every other game thing at this point.
He'll over under Jimmy Butler games 1.5 per week.
1.5 per week. Well, we should do it this way: over or under Jimmy Butler games 1.5 this series remaining. Do you think it's over 1.5?
No,
the Jimmy Butler game.
I think there's one more.
One more.
Yeah, well, we get one more. I think you get one more Jimmy Butler game.
I think 2 is probably the cutoff, but that's why I feel like that's probably where it is. So yeah, I think they're still kind of searching. So I wonder what the adjustment's going to be for the next game, because they started Quentin Post and he came in and he made his cameo and we have not seen him since. He's literally played only 3 minutes. Kuminga seemed to find something. Trace Jackson Davis seemed to find something as well. And Steve Kerr is still playing like 12 guys. So from a night to night perspective, Golden State's a hard one to project. But it's hard to generate shots without the best shooter in the world.
I'm confused. Everyone's like, oh, they gotta pull the plug and just get these guys rest. I'm like, why? Like, I understand they played game 7. I understand, but I'm also just like, you're playing a 12-man rotation. Should be okay. Like, I'm not saying play Jimmy and Dre 45 minutes, but come on now. Kyle, I'm so mad. I'm so mad I missed this because honestly, like, I just haven't paid enough attention to the series. The most obvious thing in the entire world here was Jonathan Kuminga over in this game. That was the easiest set imaginable in this situation, because specifically Jonathan Kuminga does not play well next to Steph. That's been their struggle all year, is like Kuminga plays well and Curry plays well, but Curry and Kuminga don't play well together. Kuminga's a north-south player, Steph is side to side. And so for me, it was like, when I saw that Kuminga had this huge game, I was just like, how did I miss this? By the way, the Wolves are now up 21. They're going to pull starters. Oh God, this is going to suck so bad. But Kyle, how did you do anything with Kuminga? Were there props available on this? Like, how did we all not recognize that Kuminga was the play here? You're muted, buddy.
Sorry about that. I mean, yeah, I definitely agree. Like, watching him, put up points and get these minutes over Quentin Post. Honestly, I think it actually became more obvious once Quentin Post was starting, as weird as that sounds, because it just felt like such an easy, very common trap spot to where Post would start and not play a ton of minutes. It happened often during the regular season. I will say that I don't blame anybody for being, hesitant to this, because Kuminga's literally been out of the rotation for this, the majority of this postseason. But I throw back to the Jimmy Butler absences during the last series, where we saw Kuminga re-enter the rotation, when that scoring source kind of left. So I am also kicking myself for not seeing it. I went to Pods in terms of like being the next guy up and as like a secondary scorer. Took his over PRA, that hit. I also went to Gary Payton because I thought he would start. He did not start. So I bet those two Warriors. Gary Payton, I'm not even going to blame myself. I'm going to blame Steve Kerr for that one. I'll let him take the blame. But yeah, I do agree. I do think Kuminga probably should have been on my radar more. But I think that the two guys that I were afraid that they would just give minutes to over him, one was Gary Payton, who I thought would start, and then Pat Spencer. I mean, all this talk about Pat Spencer from Draymond Green, I had Pat Spencer getting more minutes, or I believe one more minute than Kuminga in my projections leading into the game. That was clearly a mistake. So that's sort of where I'm kicking myself the most. I still had all the unders projecting really well for Pat Spencer. He was popping off all of his unders because the market was crazy on Pat Spencer, number 61, which is still hilarious to me. But so I did have some under on Pat Spencer, but yeah, I definitely should have been more invested in Kuminga and been more on his potential minutes resurgence tonight.
Nas is still in. We're still alive. We just need 2 points. Come on. Just
he's not shooting. He's not.
I know. He's just like screening for the other guys.
Oh
screening
my God.
For Jaden. Nah.
Josh Benot's going to check in. Jesus Christ.
And Spencer's in now. So. You say Josh Minot?
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah, whatever.
Josh Minot.
He has to earn the right pronunciation from me.
Yeah, learn to pronunciate you when you're a rotation player.
Terrence Shannon Jr.
Yeah, but it's over. Yeah, they're all out. Oh God, that sucks.
See, if you told me before the game Minnesota has 109 points, I'm like, Nas is definitely getting like 15.
Nas has got 18. Yeah. But I mean, look, credit to Julius Randle for 24 points tonight, 10 of 17 shooting. Like, he was better than Ant tonight. He was a guy that like really attacked. 10 of 17,
11 assists.
He was 10 of 17 from the field, and he was 9 of 13 from 2-point range. 11 dimes, really good performance by him. And they got 18 off the bench from Nickeil Alexander-Walker. So, yeah, I mean, I think at this point, it'll be interesting to see how the Western Conference Finals MVP market kind of shows. Like somebody in our chat was hanging out. Antonio says this Wolves team is so fraudulent, it's not even funny. The winner of Denver OKC is going to the finals. I will tell you to wait on that because I just think that the Warriors make life miserable for everybody. And they're just one of those teams that makes everybody miserable. And I think the Wolves match up a lot better with honestly those two teams than they do match up with the Warriors. Just because the Warriors are so capable of making you miserable, consistent. Hey, Marcus had Kuminga over. Good for you, Marcus. That's a good call.
Matt, could I ask you something actually now that you brought this up? Do you give, or what percentage chance do you give Denver to actually win that series against OKC? Or is this part of the OKC Invitational?
No, I think it's like they've still game one. They're very live. They are live to win the series.
I think so too, but I want to ask you because you're, closer to it, obviously.
So look, I still make the Thunder 77%, which is pretty strong, right? Like it's 77-23. They got 1 in 4
75.
Like a 1 in 4 chance is about right to me.
Yeah.
For Denver, they can do this 1 out of 4 times. I've said today on Locked On Nuggets, I said they've got to win both games in Denver in order for them to have a real shot at the series. I think if it's 2-2 going back, I just think it's too hard to beat OKC 2 more times out of 3. They're just too good here. I can't believe Nas didn't get 13 points. Oh my god. That's fine.
Chicago Cheetah says Denver Nuggets 20%, which same territory basically. I mean, so my thing is this. I get what you're saying about, all right, they need to win both at home, but I think if they split and then they're able to steal game 5 and they have 2 shots from there, like if they're able to get a 3-2 lead, no matter how it happens, like that's when I'm like, oh, like maybe Jokic and Jamal Murray and, like that's where it starts to get interesting to be. I just don't know if they're going to win 2 out of the next 3, but that's kind of the formula for me. It's not as much winning both in Denver as much as it's just taking a 3-2 lead and having 2 shots at it against OKC.
Yeah, I'm not sure they get 2 in Denver. I think it's I think it will be at worst 2-2 going back.
Agree.
I think that like the OKC could just come out and stomp them in both games 3 and 4.
Sure,
it's possible, but I think it's going to be 2-2, and I do think they'll lose game 5, but then I think they can win game 6 and force game 7. But also they're really good. I think they're pretty good in game 5s. I wouldn't shock me if they went on the road and win. Yeah, Antonio says with MPJ's shoulder, legit Swiss cheese. It's pretty bad. He needs help getting his jersey off post game. He's got a huge wrap on it. It's all pretty rough. Okay, let's do some best bets for Friday, and we can look towards Saturday too, because I know Brian, you gave out your best bets for tomorrow on buckets on the pod today. So if you want to look towards Saturday and the New York Knicks and the Boston Celtics, which I know you're so excited to bet in that series, as well as game 3 with the Wolves opening as a 5-point favorite versus the Golden State Warriors. Kyle, what do you like for tomorrow? What are your projections have you at? What are your plays for Friday in the association?
Yeah, so I'm looking at this Cleveland game. I'm going to project all of these guys to play here. I think it's kind of back against the wall. Darius Garland's been sort of a weird situation. He sounded like he was going to play in game 1, ended up not going through warmups after they said he would go through warmups. So I think he's probably the closest to being fully healthy. I think DeAndre Hunter is probably the one I'm most skeptical about with the dislocated thumb.
Yep.
But the way I'm viewing it is if these guys are playing, they're going to be playing fully, at least Garland. I know it's a toe injury, but I'm taking a lot of his overs here. I like his assist number the most. Currently seeing it at 5.5. Again, expecting him to play close to full, but again, I'm even tempering projections a bit. I have him at 34 minutes, which I would say is a high minute projection considering a guy's been out for a couple games. But considering this is a game where they're down 2-0, it's basically a must-win game. This would be a spot where I would typically be projecting Garland for 38 to 40 minutes. So in that scenario, I have him at 7.8 assists. So taking the over there on 5.5. I also like his combination numbers as well. If you wanted to add his points prop in, but I do prefer just the assist number the most. Also like Isaiah Hartenstein. We were on buckets live last night, and I was doing a little bit of a victory lap, not gonna lie, on this Hartenstein bet, 8.5 rebounds. He was at 8 at the half.
Oh no!
Didn't get another one.
Oh, are you kidding me? Oh, that's brutal.
Yeah, so that was and the game went pretty sideways, obviously, but he still played like 6 or 7 minutes in the third quarter and never got another rebound. It didn't even look like he was close. I think Chet had like 4 rebounds in the third, so that one was brutal. But I like the over once again here on Hartenstein, 8.5 rebounds. Also taking the over on Aaron Nesmith, over 4.5 rebounds. Played 33 minutes last game. Expect him to play mid to low 30s minutes again. And then 2 more plays. Nikola Jokic, over 37.5 points and assists. And then Jalen Williams, over 32.5 points, rebounds, and assists. I think this is a spot where both these teams are playing big minutes on their guys. So I think we could see 38, 39 minutes for Jalen Williams and 42 minutes for Jokic. So that's why they're popping in terms of the overs there for those guys.
Warriors are at 92.
I know.
You got to do some dribbling out, right?
I'm like, bro.
Let's go. Just run the clock out.
Yeah, I'm like, bro, we're right there.
Okay, offensive rebound.
I might be on Hartenstein points and rebounds. He's gonna get that floater look a lot because of how Denver plays the pick and roll defense. Unless Denver throws something completely different at Shea or they execute a lot better, I think they're very likely to get the why are you running? What you doing?
There we go.
Okay. The floater from Hartenstein is very likely, I think, to get home. So I
think it looks ugly when he shoots it, but it goes in.
He goes in, man. He's really reliable on that shot. I'm with you I'll be on Nesmith points because Aaron's just like he's a gap in the coverage. I don't know what I'm going to do with Nembhard. They ran a ton of Nembhard pick and rolls in this game, in game 2. Like he had more pick and rolls than Halliburton, according to Synergy Sports, which was really interesting. And they use Hallie a lot more off ball, and I don't know if that's the wrist or not. The Hunter, Garland, and Mobley are all questionable on the official injury report for game 3. I would be very cautious with props on the Cavs side, is what I would say.
We're gonna get the under, Matt.
We got it. They ran it out 93. Let's go. Whew. Okay. I didn't go over tonight.
Baby.
That's a win for me.
2 Nasri points away from going 3-0.
I cannot believe that Nas wound up with 11 points. I cannot believe that. That is
I got 4 straight winning days now. Let's go.
Nice. Let's go, Brian. Excellent.
To the Nesmith point, actually, we did talk about this on the other episode that is out now. But I do think it's the wrist thing because I mean not Nesmith, Nembhard. Because I'm on Nembhard points plus assists for that game, which is at 18.5. He only has 1 under in the playoffs, which was against Milwaukee in game 3. That was the game that Milwaukee won. And coincidentally, every time that he goes over on this, Indiana wins. But that's not even why that's the play for me. It's just he's in the 20s every single game, other than that one game. Like Nembhard is legit, and I feel like the odds makers haven't really caught up to it, or they're just expecting more Tyrese Halliburton on the ball usage wise or whatever. But Nembhard had a way higher usage last game. I don't know if that's going to continue, but the points plus assists, like that's just been one of my favorite looks in the playoffs. Like there are other plays obviously that are worth talking about, but that's one of the ones that I've caught on to because it's like they're not even putting it at the 20s. So I'm hitting that one until he just flops.
What are your thoughts on that and how those projections come out so low on Nembhard?
Yeah, I like that one. For me, the big difference is I think just catching up to the minutes for Nembhard. I think in the first series he wasn't really playing big minutes. I know he played 37 in game 7 of that Bucks series, but first 2 games of this series 36 and 37 minutes. So that's going to be a huge uptick. I took his over on assists last game and it was like 4.5, which I thought was a laughable number. It closed at like minus 170 and obviously had 13 assists. So yeah, I like that number quite a bit. I project him for over 6.5 assists and just shy of 12 points here. So, yeah.
Okay. Free Sauce wants Jared Allen under 12.5 rebounds and assists at plus 100 at MGM, and Evan Mobley over 1.5 threes plus 155 at Caesars.
Brandon's on Jared Allen's under also.
Yeah, he's on Jared Allen's under. I'm actually, so here's a big reason why the numbers are actually kind of, their numbers do not point to them being better necessarily with or without. But one thing that is kind of evident is they struggle a lot with Allen in particular lineup combinations because of what they're running. Honestly, for me, the biggest thing is, and I don't know really how to bet this. Are there props out on Merrill for that game, Kyle?
Yeah. Which one are you looking at?
Anything.
Okay.
Probably points and threes, right?
Points probably is the best way for me to go about it.
Points. I'm seeing 6.5 at MGM, and
I'm gonna be on the Sam Merrill under. So Atkinson started him in game 1 and immediately realized in game 2 that was not viable and went back to Wade. He can't be on the court. He was their biggest problem defensively in these 2 games. It is a nightmare. They hunted him religiously. Like, one of the reasons why Nembhard got as many minutes, I actually don't know if it's the wrist, Brian. I really do think it's that they put Merrill on Nembhard. When they switched Merrill off of him onto Halliburton went at him. Like, it's just literally whoever Sam Merrill is on, they are attacking. They're attacking with that player. So I think I'm going to be on under 6.5 for Sam Merrill in this one. You know, I get it from Free Sauce. He says over 6.5. I think I get it because it's like, look, if he hits 2 threes and a layup, then he's home. I just don't know if he's playable in this series. Like, they need to play Strus. They need to get the. Honestly, I'm not even kidding. I will feel more confident in the Cavs' chances of winning this game if DeAndre Hunter plays than Darius Garland. Like, he is way more important for what they need to do. They should have started DeAndre Hunter in game 1. They should have played Dean Wade off the bench, and Sam Merrill needs to be getting like very, very, very limited points. Free Sausage says he's just given the line. So yeah.
But he agrees with your cap on him. Should I mention my other plays or no, because it's in the other episode? Or should I just mention it for the people here?
Yeah, throw them out there.
So for Cavs Pacers, I mentioned Nembhard points and assists 18.5. I also took Donovan Mitchell early at over 29.5 points. And I feel like even if the Cavs are relatively healthy, although Darius Garland is the one that's shaky to me, like I'm not sure he's going to be there. But like Donovan is probably going to have to gut another one out here. I don't think he's going to necessarily shoot 30 times from the field and get 21 free throw attempts again. But I would have thought that this number would be in the low 30s. So I like his chances at cracking 29.5. And I almost feel like if Cleveland's going to stay alive in this series, he might have to, even if Evan Mobley's out there and even if DeAndre Hunter's out there. Garland, if he plays, maybe that looks a little bit different, but I don't expect Garland to like be awesome right off the bat because he's going to be rusty. It's been a couple weeks since we've seen him and all those different things. And Donovan Mitchell, like one of the things we talked about with this Indiana defense, while the defense is better, like I don't know if people have appreciated how much better the defense has gotten. Like, this is not the Indiana Pacers from last year. They're much more balanced. They don't need to play as quickly because they can score in different ways, but also their defense is better than it was last year by a pretty good margin. And but one of the areas that they're more vulnerable in still is just in the paint, and Donovan Mitchell can get in the paint. And he's pretty much shown that whenever he feels like it, just about like he can get into the paint. And I also have Cleveland first half -1.5 because again, the game lines have been scaring me. And Indiana, similar to the Knicks, probably not quite as dramatically or in a high profile way, but they've had some good fourth quarters. So while I think Cleveland should, I feel like everything I know about basketball has been questioned in this round because we're getting like a March Madness style NBA playoffs. So I'm just going to roll with Cleveland in the first half. And it'll be alarming if Indiana's the one that gets off to a fast start because Cleveland's season feels like it's very much on the line here.
This number right now, Timberwolves Warriors, by the way, is now at -260 Wolves, and that's where I've got it exactly after they won game 2. So that's after a downgrade to the Warriors without Steph Curry. If Curry comes back for game 6, it'll probably swing back to where there's value on the Dubs. But with that unknown variable right now, I've got without Curry, I've got this market rated correctly.
Wolves are -5 for game 3, by the way. Just
and yeah, Antonio says, does anybody like the Cavs to win the series at 162? Cavs outplayed them in both games and obviously still lost. Kyle, you have any thoughts on if the Cavaliers could actually get back in the series? They did have leads in both of these games.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I probably need a better number than 162 to be super enticed, just because of the fact that I still don't know about the injuries. Like, I am projecting these guys to play because, like, I'm thinking that if they possibly can play, they will be playing. But there's still a lot of question marks there. So I would think that 162 is probably not a juicy enough number for me to be overly enticed, but I definitely think that they still have a chance to come back here. Obviously, they're going to need at least a couple of these guys to get healthy. But I was going to ask you, Matt, what would your number be in this game? Full strength Cavs versus Pacers. What would you have the spread at?
With a full strength squad. So this is what's kind of interesting, is that's why I'm waiting on the injury report. I have to know before I bet into this one. I have it. I make this game. So I bet Indiana, actually. I bet Indiana on the money line, anticipating some level of bad news for Cleveland. It sounds like most people think that there's going to be good news for Cleveland. We'll see what happens with the injuries, but I bet Pacers on the money line for this game, and I'm okay with that. I might come back on Cavs. One thing I will tell you, if everybody plays, if this is full strength, I'm going to be on overtime. Because I make this game. Yep, that's right. I make this game Pacers minus 0.1 points. So that is what I make this at full strength, is minus 0.1. So I'll be on overtime if this one gets, which makes sense because these games have been close down the wire.
Yeah.
I think these two teams are probably pretty even with where the Cavs are at. Now, the Cavs are probably due for one game where things go normally, but I also just think I will say the Pacers have just gotten them out of their comfort zone. Like, they've just done a really good job of getting downhill and attacking them. And the Cavs have just quite honestly not been engaged enough in terms of locking in possession by possession. They look like, I hate this and I don't enjoy this because I like the Cavs so much. And like, I like Kenny Atkinson and I love Donovan Mitchell and like Evan Mobley. Like, I love this team. They look like a team that's like, why are you playing so hard? Why are we not playing like we do in the regular season? And they're confused because the Pacers are like, we're coming for your neck every single possession. Oh, you scored? We're right back at you. Oh, that's cool. You got a big dunk and are celebrating with the crowd. Yeah, we're already at the basket scoring again. Like, every single time. They're just constantly back at you. And that plus Halliburton really controlling the game has been really impressive to me. They also, like, Carlisle's doing some really great stuff in this series. They started the game by running an inverted pick and roll with Pascal Siakam and Tyrese Halliburton. Like, they just have run a bunch of weird. Now, it also just took Tyrese Halliburton going and getting his rebound and then off of a free throw and then just going to work. Like, that's in the end of it. But I'm pretty impressed with the Pacers enough for me to be able to grab them as at this move at 2.5. And so at that point, I'm like, no, I don't think that's accurate. I will say that the number move to me indicates confidence that these guys are going to play. I'm not saying that it's misplaced. I don't have a read on it. I will just say that, like, I am not confident in the market's projection of these injury situations. Antonio said, I listened to Kenny Atkinson's interview today, and he said Garland is only doing conditioning things on the side, no basketball activities. Like, I think Mobley might be the first one back. I don't think DeAndre Hunter plays. I don't think Darius Garland plays. I think Evan Mobley might, because it's an ankle. You can tape it and give him things, and he can play through it. It's a lot harder to play with a dislocated thumb on your right hand. Yeah, this is a great look from Free Sauce. Naismith has hit over 1.5 threes last 3 games. Yeah, like all of the Naismith stuff, I think is good. Rebounds, overs, points and rebounds, points, threes. The Aaron Naismith series, I think, as well. I didn't get to give my thoughts today on buckets. I did listen to the show because I wanted to hear Brandon triple down on Knicks Celtics, but if you listen to the preview show, you have to laugh because I told Brandon, I was like, I don't know what to do because like I don't think they can win like more than a game in the series. The matchup is so bad, blah 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 blah. And I kept being like, but my numbers really like the Knicks. Like they scream that this is good value. And I just didn't bet the Knicks at all. I only have Celtics stuff. And it's just like, are you kidding me? And it did take not miracles, but very extreme circumstances for this to be 2-0. But it is very frustrating to open up my numbers every day and be like, you bet this, right? You bet right? Like surely you bet this number when they were a big dog. I do have the most likely outcome right now at Knicks. Actually, no, I'll take that back. I have the most likely outcome right now as Celtics in 7. That's my most likely outcome right now. But
even though your model likes the Knicks,
right? Correct.
Okay.
The second most likely outcome is Knicks in 6, which I think is probably pretty valuable. Which makes a lot of sense to me. I think that like it would be very weird if the Knicks were to just get booted after going up 2-0. Would be, I guess, that's shocking, but that to me seems unlikely. I've only got Knicks 4-2. I've got that in the market. It's only plus 290, and I make it 638. So nothing for me on that one. I do make the Knicks now minus 159, a 61% favorite to win that series. And the bigger takeaway, though, and I logged this in the Action Network app, which you should download. You got all sorts of cool stuff in there. Tyrese Halliburton's plus 500 Eastern Conference Finals MVP. And I love the Pacers if they face the Knicks.
I do too.
Now I like the Celtics if they face the Knicks, but at least my numbers back up this one. So I bet Halliburton. I bet the other night at 800. I've logged in the app at 5-1 because I didn't want to put in a stale number. And then I also bet Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and Hallie on a parlay because I still kind of think that I did title tiers on Real GM Radio with Wes Goldberg. And it was really tough trying to think of like who's the team that's in the top tier for title contention right now at this exact moment in time. And I was like, it's OKC, even though it's 1-1. Like it just has to be still OKC. But it's close. I think the Wolves are live. It's gonna be really interesting. It's gonna be a fascinating run. This playoffs have been amazing, and we'll see more. Tomorrow, you'll have buckets in the afternoon. We will likely not know about Cavs Pacers, and that game isn't on docket because we'll do the Saturday games. But if there is information, we'll have stuff in the Action Network app, etc. So be on the lookout for that. You can follow Kyle on Twitter at KMurr, MURRDFS. He's over at Roto Grinder. Check out his projections daily. The crew does great there. They've been killing it. Brian Fonseca on a hot streak, 4 days in a row now. Good job by Brian. Way to go, buddy. At Brian Fonseca MY. And he's on YouTube at Brian Fonseca. He does shows about boxing, combat sports, and the NBA. He's also on the watch-alongs at the New York Post for the Knicks games. So as he watches the series and continues to just be confused by it.
We have Joe DeLera Saturday for Game 3. Joe DeLera will be in studio with Dexter and I, so that'll be fun. And Joe will be bringing prop plays, I'm sure.
All right. Thanks for joining us, everybody. We'll see you guys again next time. Until then, let's get buckets.